So, I just got back from seeing Illumination's The Grinch, and it was not very good. I'll be honest with you. Now, I'm not big on Illumination to begin with. I'll say I enjoyed the first Despicable Me. I really did enjoy it. It's a good movie. At least I think so. Like kids, I think it's a good movie for kids for sure. And then like Despicable Me 2, it's like okay, still pretty good, but they started really focusing on the Minions because I don't know, they just blew up in popularity. But then the everything else is just kind of like I don't care for Sing. Secret Life of Pets was just Toy Story, which is not as good. Everything else is just what the fuck else did they do? I don't even know, but I don't really. I'm not a huge fan of them. Basically, like their animation looks nice. It looks beautiful. I love the colors, but everything else just I don't like. I feel like I should give more of a reason as to why I don't like them. It's just because I don't know. It's just it feels like there's a lot of what I don't like about kids films in this. That feels like it's kind of like I guess you could say like a plague of modern children. So anyway, off topic. So I saw The Grinch. Like I said, I wasn't too big on it. I actually went out of my way to like a theater that's like 30 miles away just to take my little brother to it, just to get some feel for the rest of New York State. But it's hard to take in the feel when it's fucking roughly almost 7 o'clock at night. It's dark out, so I can't really take it all in if I can't see shit. But he enjoyed it, well, for the most part. He got, just like every other film I take him to, he got bored. And then he's just kind of like, when are we leaving? When are we leaving? It's like, how about when the movie's over? How about for that? How about like when the movie's fucking over? Anyway, the quality of this. Now, The Grinch, a lot of people like the Jim Carrey version. And to be honest, for the enjoyability factor, it's way up there. Well, not way up there. It's kind of like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Like, I enjoy it, but I do not think it's a good movie. I really don't, but I can understand why people like it. No more people my generation, it's for childhood nostalgia, but that's just them. I didn't know what to expect going into this film, but what I got was kind of weird. Because it's like, obviously, like, yes, this is an adaptation of a book. And the adaptation, this is obviously very different from the Jim Carrey version, but the way they did it, just how they emphasize on some aspects, but not enough on others, just kind of annoyed me. By the way, I don't know how they got Tyler, the Creator, to do the Grinch theme for this. I don't know how they got him to do that, but I can understand why they got Pharrell, of all people, to do the narrator for the movie, because I guess he's in the. Why is my door open? That's terrifying. No, but it's like because Pharrell, like just because like he did the song for Despicable Me 2, so I guess he's the closest thing to a religious figure that they have in the whole Illumination universe. So like, hey, why not? It's not like don't try to pay homage to Boris Karloff or anything, or anything from the original, because they really don't. Actually, I have some things to say, but I wrote them down in my phone because I'm not an improv kind of guy. You guys should know this right now. This is just I'm just doing this straight up, just no takes, no cuts, one take. So the animation was nice. I did like the animation. It did, and the whole visual style did feel like a lot of great Christmas visuals, but some of them I really wish they improved upon, because there was there's a scene where the children, like Cindy Lou Who in the movie and her friends, go into this sort of like Christmas maze in their town, and it looks beautiful, like when the scene starts and the camera's just kind of taking it all in, like, oh, this is where the scene's starting, and then they went in and it's like they went in, but they went into a different place, as in like it's like it was only there for the sake of showing it at the beginning of the scene, because otherwise there had virtually no point for it to be there, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. My arm's getting tired, so bear with me. Okay, let's see. And Benedict Cumberbatch was kind of. I mean, he did all right. He did an all right job as the Grinch, but it didn't seem like he was. I don't know. The whole Grinch character here was really weird because it's like, why isn't he never? You know what? He didn't. It's not Benedict Cumberbatch's fault. It's the way the character's written, but I didn't feel like this was the Grinch. It just seemed like like the Grinch, the way how the Boris Karloff one is. Like Jim Carrey is just kind of like that. Jim Carrey's just a little bit like the Boris Karloff version, the one that's actually like very conniving and very grumpy. Like he's a Grinch. Like you hear the word Grinch and you know exactly what kind of person he's like, what kind of the thing, whatever what he is. And, like I said, Jim Carrey captured that, but Benedict Cumberbatch just kind of like, he didn't seem like the Grinch. He seemed more like somebody who can have a good heart, but it just has a bad attitude because he cares for his dog a lot. And this other character they meet named Fred, which is like, I think he's a reindeer, who literally has no purpose in this film, to be honest with you. He just is there for comic relief and also used as the Deus Ex Machina. So that's stupid. There really was virtually no point for him to be here because they use him for like about 15 minutes in the middle of the movie. They find a reason to take him out for a bit, and it's like he was never there, and literally just serves a point to do his part in the end, which I'm not going to say what it is, even though it doesn't really matter, but whatever. But yeah, some things are a little inconsistent too, like the fact that at the beginning, Grinch tries to say Christmas, but he's struggling to get it out. But yet, like in the next scene, he's literally singing Christmas music with the word Christmas in it. That made virtually no sense to me. And the fact that there's a scene later where you probably see it in the trailer where he's walking in the snow and he's like, "This is the loudest snow I've ever heard." And then as soon as he's done saying that, he starts walking through the snow again. And for some reason, it's really quiet. Like the snow was loud before when he was trying to sneak in, but now after he made note, acknowledged the fact that the snow is loud, it's not loud anymore. As if it's like, okay, we got that out of the way so we can just stop trying to put an effort in on that. It's like, no, emphasize on that. Like, you're gonna, or at least, no, don't emphasize it, but fucking have consistency in your work. Otherwise, it just comes out as pretty shit. And, okay, something, I'm saying a lot of negative things, but something I did like about this, that I didn't like about the Jim Carrey version, is that the Who's in this movie actually kind of feel like they're supposed to in the original story and in the cartoon, because they're actually nice. They're actually nice people. They're considerate of others. They're considerate of the Grinch. Like they just kind of like know him, and they're just nice to him. Like even if he's being nasty, they're just kind of like, oh, like hi, Mr. Grinch. Like they're just being nice. Like that's how the Who should be. Unlike how in the Jim Carrey version where they're just assholes for no reason other than to make the Grinch, like give the Grinch reason to hate Christmas. And speaking of that, his backstory here as to why he hates Christmas is stupid. It's not even well explained at all. It's the fact saying that like he was in an orphanage and nobody wanted him, supposedly. All you ever see is just like him walking around in a big house by himself. There's literally nobody. He doesn't give word as to what exactly was going through his mind, or like there's nothing about like really what happened. Like did nobody want him? Did he just, I don't get it. Like there's no explanation as to why he hates Christmas. It's just the fact that it's just kind of like a PTSD for him, not just like, oh, I hate Christmas. Just kind of like how the Jim Carrey version, it's just a PTSD thing for him, and it just makes him just a little bit grumpy. Like, that's it. It's like, that's not the Grinch. That's not the Grinch. That's not the Grinch that I know, at least. And, like I said, there are parts in this movie that feel like they're taking up, they're literally just, what am I trying to say? Parts that they emphasize more on other parts than they should. Like, I think they emphasize more on the unnecessary parts of the story rather than like what actually should matter. like the last few minutes was taken up by. He brought back, if you know the Grinch story, like, he brings back all the toys and everybody, and he just kind of, he's like, brings everybody their toys back, and everybody's happy, and they have him carve the roast beast because they thanked him so much, because, he has a big heart now. But in here, it's like he gives them back, he says he's sorry, walks away, goes back to his house, sits alone for a bit, is nice to Max, even though he's already been mostly nice to him this whole movie. And then, Cindy Lou comes over to his house. She's like, hey, you want to come over to my place for dinner? And he's like, oh, okay. He goes over, he's nervous, and then he's being introduced to all these people, and then they want to have him carve the roast beast. And something he doesn't even do, he does not even carve the roast beast. They just show him he just does a toast and just says some shit. It's like, I was like, can we stop padding this out a bit? They try to stretch out the story, which I kind of understand. Other aspects I can understand, like, the film starts out about 5 days before Christmas, and it's just he's just using all that time to prepare for all this. It's like day one, it's just kind of like he's having a bad day, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna steal Christmas." And the next few days, it's just him formulating the plan, like getting the reindeer, getting the sleigh, making some gadgets to steal the presents and all that, and steal the Christmas tree. But otherwise, it's like. Even the final scene, what is supposedly like the close to final scene where he's on the hill and then he saves it from falling off, that just happens in like a minute. Like not even a minute. It feels like at least the Jim Carrey version felt like a more cinematic version of that, and that's what I liked about it. It felt like a Grinch movie. This feels just like a very stretched out version of the Grinch, but the parts that are really short, like the parts that they do emphasize that are in the book and in the cartoon, they literally do it at the same length as those. It's like reading a really small paragraph in the book. It's like, boom, takes you like 15-20 seconds to read, and that's about as long as it takes in the scene in this movie. And it's really kind of... the film just the storytelling and the structure of it, it doesn't work. I'm not a big fan of that. So it just kind of seemed like they were just taking up extra time when they could have honestly used it to have a better backstory for him, because they just threw that out the window with no good explanation. But Cindy Lou, who was I guess the other, I don't have much else to say, but I think the last thing I'll say is that Cindy Lou, she felt like a kid, but she felt a little too much like a, I don't know. She kind of like Cindy Lou, she's innocent in the Grinch version, even though she's like 11 as opposed to like 5 or 6. But she's actually like, she looks like about 7 here, so I guess she's about as good as they can make her. And you can't have a fucking Illumination movie without a butt in your face joke. Just a butt joke. Like butt, ass crack, cheek, whatever, straight up in your face, because that's what they do here. They did it in Minions. They did it fucking in every movie they do, and I was like, I literally, like, everyone, all the kids in the theater were laughing, but I just had to like, it's just like they had to go there, Not that the film was doing any better without it, but just you could have gone without it, but you didn't. And you fucking, I mean, most kids will like this movie. Ones if they're not really thinking, whatever. It's good eye candy, I guess. It's good eye candy for them for sure. But most of the adults, or at least me, I'm not a fan. I didn't like it. I'd say it's about I'd say a 3 or 4 out of 10 for me. But otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it. In fact, I either recommend you watch... I prefer the Jim Carrey version over this. Not saying that's a really great movie. Not saying it's not even a good movie. But it just feels like more like a cinematic Grinch film. And this one was just kind of like a weird way to just kind of bring him back into the light again for merchandising reasons. But no, just watch the Boris Karloff version, or even fucking Grinch Night, or even the Grinch is the Cat in the Hat, or whatever. Just, this is not the Grinch that it should be. This is not the Grinch we deserve. So... yeah, that's it. Good night.